What is your never again brand, store, restaurant, or company? I took my Beater Woods truck to a local tire shop for an alignment. They told me they couldn't align it because I had a sticky U-joint, and then charged me for an hour of labor because they had to take the tire rods off. I argued, because A, U-joints don't impact alignment, and B, there was about an inch of grime on the castle nuts, so there's no way the tie rods came off. They brought out a manager who just made shit up about how alignments work. I am a mechanical engineer. I think they thought they could get away with it because I am female. Nope, I filed a complaint with the state, and they were fined for lying about service costs. I bought an engine from AutoZone for a vehicle I owned. They had a vendor build the engine, and it was supposed to ship to my house. I waited 3 weeks for it to arrive, but it never did. I contacted their store, was told that it hadn't shipped yet, and was coming via FedEx Freight. I kept up with the tracking hash, but couldn't get anywhere with it. I kept calling back every couple of days to see what was going on, and no one could figure it out. I finally managed to find out that it had shipped via another company, RL Freight, and had been delivered to somewhere else. It was like pulling teeth to get a refund on an engine I never received. It took another 2 weeks to get the refund. I won't buy a soda from AutoZone now. A bar I went to on my 25th birthday. I got there first and opened a tab to get my first couple of drinks before my friends showed up and started buying for me. At the end of the night, I went to get my bill, which should have been under $20. Instead, I got a single piece of paper with a total of $85. It did not come with an itemized slip. Edit, for the people who can't gather this from context, that was unusual. All the times I'd gone to the bar before, I got itemized receipts. All of my friends that night got itemized receipts. When they closed out, I spent 20 minutes on my birthday at the bar, calling out the bartender's name, asking for an itemized receipt, while he pretended he could neither see nor hear me. I went home and reached out to management and explained the story to them, including how long I tried to get his attention. Her reply: "If you thought there was an issue with your receipt, you should have asked the bartender to explain it to you." Never again. Case anyone cares, it's Penn Social in DC. Edit, since this seems to be coming up a lot, this is America, so, not chip and pin. They won't serve you unless they first swipe your credit card. I could not simply leave without paying, it was going to be charged to me, no matter what. My experience with disputing charges is that it's not super convenient, so I was really hoping to be able to deal with this at the bar without having to do that. So please don't be one of the 337 people who have told me I would have just left. Edit, thank you for the silver, con stranger. If anyone else wants to do the same, please donate the money to a charity instead, or just give it to a homeless person. If I see something is being shipped by On Track, I'll cancel. The 3 times they were the delivery company from Amazon, they lost one package completely, and tried to say it wasn't their fault. The second package was also deemed lost, but then showed up on my doorstep, something like 6 weeks later. The third time it sat on shipping label created for a week, and I just contacted Amazon and canceled the package. You don't find a lot of positive reviews out there, and any positive ones you do find seem like they were written by the company via a fake account. Every package I've ever had stolen was shipped via On Track. They claimed it was delivered and I never find it. One time, I looked with minutes of its supposed delivery. Yeah, sure, maybe the residents of my apartment complex are shady, but UPS, FedEx, and USPS never seem to have this issue. Chili's. I don't know how this even happens, but I was served fried chicken that was cold, and literally had ice on it. Edit. To anyone reading this later on, I want you to know that Chili's PR staff has contacted me, trying to smooth things over. Yeah, right. Chili's served me frozen food and I'd rather trash them forever than be sweet-talked with a gift card. Well, it's not called Warmies, dude. Frontier Internet. They're one of the shittiest ISPs I've ever had. I will never go back, no matter how cheap it is. Okay, so we have your internet hooked up. Wait, I only get 1 Mbps for $60 a month. The speeds are up to 30 Mbps. So, I had 4 no-show installations, and took off 5 days of work, for 1 Mbps internet? Yeah, I guess so. This is a true story that happened in a small Midwest town, approximately 3 years ago. Effing AT&T, it's one thing after another with these a-holes. They've been taking $60 a month from my checking account for the last 7 months, for a prepaid phone that I don't have. They can't tell me why or take me off auto draft, because I don't have a phone number to look up the phone that I don't own. Just spent almost an hour at the bank, trying to dispute this shit. It's just the most recent in a long list of effery, caused by AT&T. Those twats. I work in the electronics industry. With your brief summary, it is safe to assume your identity has been compromised. I'd review your credit history thoroughly, and lock down the bank account you referenced. If I'm right, I am sorry, but you are also fortunate that they only got a prepaid phone. Wayfair delivered a wooden table that had a huge split on the side and was broken where you put the leaf to extend the table. Got 4 redeliveries, and every single time it was the exact same table with the same damage. Eventually got a full refund, but did they seriously think that would work? Makes zero sense to me. Bonus, ordered a bedroom set around the same time, and paid for delivery and assembly. The assemblers were 2/3 through the assembly, and told me they couldn't finish, because they couldn't understand the instructions. Had them take all the stuff back, and also got a refund. I had some fairly expensive furniture delivered from Art Van before, and noticed a pretty big scuff, where the laminate was chipped off the side of a computer hutch. This was the mid-90s, lol. Anyway, they said they'd get another from the truck, which I found really implausible, and sure enough they were gone for 10 minutes, before coming back with the same hutch, except they had colored in the chipped area with a brown marker. I made some interesting phone calls after that one. Spirit Airlines. Never again. F them. Flight from Vegas got cancelled. They don't even bother trying to put you on another flight. Not only that, you have to pay extra for the next flight available. I told them they can go F themselves and I want a refund. The customer service person told me he can refund me Spirit credit. That's when I lost it. After enough bitching, he gave me my money back to my credit card, and I bought a flight on Delta. Edit. Thanks for the silver kind person. After my experience, I made it a point to go on several review sites, and made a PSA to never fly Spirit again. This was one of many incidents I have had to deal with them. This one just broke me, because I was flying back from Vegas. I can only handle Vegas for 2 nights, after that, I want the F out of there. Having to stay there another night was not something I wanted to do. Also, it was not weather related, as they told me. No other flights into Detroit that day were cancelled. I checked. I even told that to the customer service agent. He shrugged it off. Comcast. A door-to-door salesman straight up lied to my dad, saying they had a 4 DVR setup that would cost less than what we were paying AT&T. When the installation guy got there, he said that no, they didn't have a 4 DVR setup. He was told to give us the standard 2 DVR setup, which was absolutely not something that would work in a house with 6 people, with wildly different tastes in TV shows. So, my dad tells him never mind, we're sticking with AT&T then. But because the Comcast guy had already installed our new cable box, he couldn't take it back with him, so we had to mail it back to Comcast ourselves. The kicker is, 5 years later, Comcast tried to bill my parents for the cable box, saying we never sent it back. My parents insisted they did, and Comcast wanted the UPS receipt, which obviously we no longer had, because it was 5 years ago, and we hadn't heard anything from them before this. So, my parents refused to pay. Comcast sent a collections company after us, and when my parents explained the situation to the collection company, they were like, "Those effers, we'll take care of this." That was, thankfully, the end of it. Tony's Pizza Palace, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. September 26, 1986 was the day I buried my infant son. He was 11 months old and died from complications due to being born 3 months premature. His twin brother is healthy and got married 3.5 years ago. After returning from the burial ceremony to the funeral home, we went out to our cars and found flyers tucked under the windshield wipers. Having a family get-together? Why not have it at Tony's Pizza Palace? Ask about our group discounts. Edit. I thought I should add this. Tony's happens to be 1 block away from the funeral home, 3 blocks from the second biggest hospital, and about 10 blocks away from the second biggest shopping mall in the city, all of which are in a straight line. I figure some 17-year-old kid, working part-time for Tony's, was given a pile of flyers, and asked to put them on cars at the mall. The kid, not thinking, saw all the cars, and probably started at the funeral home, then went to the hospital parking lots and was probably out of flyers before he even got to the mall. I seriously doubt anyone in management, or perhaps I hope, that nobody at Tony's was aware that this happened. But it happened on a day that I won't forget, and I still haven't gotten past it. 1800 flowers. F them. They waited several days after I placed an order for Mother's Day to tell me that they wouldn't be able to fulfill the order. They waited until the day before, putting me in a bad position. Now I Google my mom's zip, add flowers, and have a few choices. I call the local shops directly and 1800 flowers is cut out of the process. Same. Local florists are the only way to go. Also 1800 flowers never unsubscribes you from their cavalcade of marketing shit. My sister sent my mother some flowers for her birthday, and luckily my mom sent us a picture of the bouquet. Thanks so much for the flowers. They looked nice, but it was not what was advertised. There were supposed to be some Gerbera daisies and it was bullshit carnations. My sister knows her flowers, so she knows the difference. I get some things are hard to come by during certain seasons, but to just swap them in and not say anything is wrong. TurboTax. Did my return. Got a notice that my e-file needed to be corrected, logged back in to fix it, and my return wasn't there anymore. 6 hours on the phone with 3 tiers of tech support, each one trying exactly the same thing. Finally they were just trying random shit, so I tried random shit in parallel, managed to get to my return, with the invoice number from paying for the service, without logging in. Tried to get them to understand that this was a very bad thing, that they should report to someone. And they told me, they had no access to anyone technical, and no way to submit bugs. This from the company that lobbied to make it illegal for the government to offer tax filing service. Tim Hortons. Quality is gone. They no longer have in-store bakeries, the coffee blend is god-awful, the menu is huge, the speed of service is horrible, and the way the owners are treated by the franchise is just disgusting. They need to stop trying to do everything, and get back to focusing on what made them great. Edit. As a former Tim's baker, I'm glad to see I'm not the only one who's feeling this way. Thanks for the silver and platinum, kind strangers. Cancun, a little Mexican restaurant in my area. They had a bunch of tacos on their menu, all of which listed cheese and white sauce as ingredients. The fish tacos didn't, so I ordered them and didn't bother specifying that I didn't want cheese or white sauce. Well, they came out smothered in both, and I couldn't eat them, so I sent them back. The waiter came out and made a huge show of interrogating my husband about why she, meaning me, sitting right there across the effing table, fully capable of speaking for myself, sent back the food, and told my husband that it wasn't the restaurant's fault, that she didn't just assume that the tacos would obviously come covered in ingredients the menu didn't mention. When I said that he should be talking to me, the one with the problem, he said that he was only comfortable talking with the one who would be paying the bill. I asked to speak to the manager, and as he was leaving to get him, I very clearly heard him call me a bitch on his way out. The manager backed up his sexist prick of a server, so we left without paying, have never gone back, and have told others not to go. F that place. Verizon. When I called to cancel, because I was switching to AT&T prepaid, they insisted that I had the pricing of my new plan wrong, because it couldn't be so cheap. I pushed back and ultimately got the rep to cancel my plan, or so she said. 2 months later, I get a bill for my Verizon plan and they claimed I wasn't eligible to get it refunded. She had actually just put my account on hold for a week, so on my end, it looked like it had been cancelled. I had to report them to the BBB to get my money back, and they will never get my money again. Olive Garden. First the meals got shitty and I could deal with it, but then the Alfredo sauce did too, and that's where I draw the line. Olive Garden is basically turning into Italian fast food. To be honest, I am kind of okay with that. It's almost satisfyingly bad. If they opened up a drive-thru, I think I would unironically go to it. Macy's. Got a credit card through them to buy a suit. My parents offered to pay the card off as a birthday present. Q months of them calling me 5+ times a day, asking where the payment that had already been made was. Harassing me to make more and larger payments. When it was finally paid off, they then tacked on a completed payment fee and never sent a bill, so the whole damn thing started all over. I was genuinely about to file a lawsuit over harassment or something. It was unbelievable, because I would tell one person the payment was made, and then get 4 more calls the same day, asking the same thing. Then rinse and repeat tomorrow. I worked Macy's for about a year. They charged their credit card holders like $1.75 a month, If they don't use their card, then you take it away, if you actually charge something on the card. I asked the manager to explain it to me, and she was just like, oh yeah, they'll remove the charge if you call in and ask them to, so, it's no big deal. Like WTF? It's no big deal until that $1.75 gets charged a $30 late fee, because you didn't know you had to pay anything. It still pisses me off, when I think about it. Edit. I worked there in 2016. I looked around online and it was a minimum interest fee, which meant that if the interest charged was less than $2, it would be rounded up to $2 and was kind of hidden on the bill. They aren't supposed to do it anymore, but there seems to be a glitch in the system that still randomly applies it, which is why they just take it off if you call in about it. LuLaRoe. I only bought stuff to help out a friend that was trying to make ends meet. Luckily she quit after about a year. Bought 3 pairs of leggings over the course of the year, and none of them made it the year without holes. $25 each. Never again. Also, I felt gross buying from an MLM, but like I said, just supporting a friend. My friend spent almost $20,000 to start up for LuLaRoe. She ended up not selling very much, and they don't let you return the unused product for full price, only half price. I'm glad she's not selling it anymore, because I have the same complaint about the quality of the clothes. Absolute garbage pyramid scheme. Who in their right mind would spend $20,000 on that nonsense? I worked for a day at Abercrombie & Fitch Kids. They told me that we had to say, "Hey guys, how's it going?" as customers entered, and if we didn't, we were subject to write-ups, because if the customer ended up being a secret shopper, we'd end up getting points off if we didn't say those exact words. We also had to spritz the place every half hour with that horrific cologne that I can only imagine Sex Panther to smell like. I refuse to ever shop at their stores again, though it helps that I'm almost 30, and was never a California surfer. JDM Racing Motors gave me a damaged motor and claimed a compression test was the only way to test the engine and said it passed. Barely held on in one cylinder. To make matters worse, if you put coolant in where it ought to go, it would come out of the oil pan. Made a few calls and had email exchanges with their mechanics, and was informed coolant and oil touch regularly, and that is how it cools the oil. Wrong on so many levels. Never got my money back either, so I ended up using the good parts from the exterior to rebuild my old engine. Edit. This got way more attention than I thought it would. Wow. Thanks. Hope it serves as valuable insight into the risks you take buying used parts. UPS. Worked in the warehouse for 2 whole days. I'm unloading the semis of packages when my boss tells me to hurry up. If it breaks, it breaks. Not our problem. I lost all respect for them that day and quit at the end of my shift. Super girly. Probably won't be seen. Ulta. Every time I go into this store without my makeup on, none of the staff help me, or even glance my way. When I have makeup on, they make sure to ask me if I need help. I do know they aren't trying to associate with me, because I've walked in right before a group of young, full-faced girls, and the 2 staff at the door went to them first. I have decided after the last time I went, it would be the last. Edit. I saw a few comments regarding my beard. I think it would apply to me if I had one, if I were a man? But I'm a female, if that clears anything up. State Farm. I have heard stories of how great they were with other people's claims, that other customers were well taken care of, and I feel a twinge of envy. Several months before my middle child was born, our water heater broke and leaked all over the hall tile, and under the wall in the kitchen. We sopped it up with towels and called our agent. She had remediation workers there. A short time later, fans on the carpet, checking the drywall, all the standard stuff. The adjuster met with us and went over all of the stuff that would need replacing, carpet and tile. Our tile was contiguous, so it all went. It was ugly orange tile, so we were thrilled to get some new tile of a different color. We selected a contractor and he did his assessment. He told us that we would also need our kitchen cabinets replaced, because the water had soaked up the sides and it only looked okay because the toe kick was hardboard, but the sides were particle board, and the water would have irreparably damaged the hidden material. This was early June. The adjuster said, "Hell no." The contractor got angry, the adjuster got angry, and 4 months later the adjuster finally agreed to have a third-party inspector come and take a look. During this pissing contest, I asked my agent to intervene. She said that what the adjuster says, goes. The independent inspector comes, I take him to the kitchen, He pulls the fridge out and says, after less than 3 minutes of being over, "Yep, those need replacing." Now I have a contractor performing demo work, while I have a 2-week-old newborn in the house. The work was completed to our satisfaction, in 2 weeks' time. Once the work was done, we canceled our State Farm policies and moved auto to Progressive and home to Allstate. Our agent was interested then, came to the house and brought over a swag bag. Almost 20 years later, all that is left from the swag bag is a well-used State Farm potholder that I refuse to toss, as it serves as a reminder of her ordeal. I chuckle at the State Farm mailers I get every 2 months or so, as I chuck them into the recycle bin. The Daily Mail. I live near Liverpool in the UK, where the sun is considered literally the worst thing ever. For real, there are signs up, just randomly in the street boycotting it, and most newsagents don't stock it, but the Mail has it beat for me. It's an absolute rag that spits on any idea of journalistic integrity, that constantly strips any nuance out of public discussion, and that is packed to the rafters with scarce stories and hypocritical bullshit. Of the 5 publications that received the most IPSO complaints in 2017, 4 of them, the Daily Mail, Mail Online, the Mail on Sunday and Metro, the free paper, that you'll find given out everywhere in the UK, were run by the Mail Group. First place was The Sun, just about, but it was dwarfed by the combined figures for the other 4. Occasionally a newsagent will do an offer where you can buy the Mail for 50p or so, and get a bottle of water or a chocolate bar worth £1 for free, which leads to the ever-present quandary of whether or not I buy the paper, and hope that they lose money on it, or pay full price for the water or chocolate, just so I don't push their circulation numbers up. I'd say it's an irrational hatred, but I don't even think it is. They're an organization that I genuinely believe makes the world worse just by existing. Neiman Marcus. I went there to buy a Prada bag for my mother. She had a knockoff she loved, so I figured she'd appreciate the real thing. I wear t-shirts to work, but this day it was at least a fancy one. It didn't matter. The sales lady told me, "It's very expensive," rolled her eyes, and walked away. So, I went next door, to the actual Prada store, and bought one. I don't need to be judged by an angry middle-aged woman working retail, thank you very much. Lyft. They recently charged me a damage fee for damages I could not have plausibly caused. I sent statements explaining how it couldn't have been me. They sent back a standardized statement and didn't give me any additional information. There is no phone line to talk to a representative. I sent them multiple follow-up emails, which they never responded to. Now I have to write a statement for my credit card company to dispute the charge. A hospital in my area. My brother and his wife just recently had a baby there. My first nephew and their first child. He was born 2 weeks premature, by scheduled C-section, but you couldn't tell, since he was more than 9 pounds when he came out. If he went full term, he could have been more than 11 pounds. Anyways, he arrives and everything is going well. His blood sugar was a little low, but the doctors claimed it got better. A day later, and he begins twitching every once in a while. My sister-in-law asks the pediatrician and the nurse why, and they said that it was fine. The day after that, and the twitching increased, and he began doing it every other minute. My brother and his wife panic and ask the doctor, but the doctor checks his blood quickly and says nothing is wrong, but if they're still worried about it they should wait to go to the pediatrician on Monday, 3 days later. As soon as they leave the hospital, despite the baby still twitching, they turn around and ask for the doctor to please look one more time. He refuses and tells them that they can't look anymore, because they are discharged from the hospital. Refusing to believe that their baby was okay, my brother and his wife took him to a different hospital's emergency room. The doctor there took one look at the baby's blood, and immediately prepared a bottle of formula for him. His blood sugar was 36. If you aren't familiar with blood sugar, then just know that sugar that low can be deadly. My sister-in-law's milk hasn't come in yet, she didn't know that, and the pediatrician at the first hospital only gave the baby 2 ounces of formula in 2 days. Her baby was very close to going into shock. If they took the doctor's advice and waited until Monday, that baby would have been dead before reaching home. Edit. My sister-in-law was checked many times for gestational diabetes, and she didn't have it at any point. The hospital is in Pennsylvania, but I won't name which one, at least until my brother and sister-in-law decide to sue or not. I and most of my family agree that they should sue, but they're much more focused on their new baby at the moment. The baby is fine now, and getting fed plenty at home with a mixture of both breast milk and formula. We bought a flea medicine from Hart's to use on our cat, and she became lethargic and didn't eat anything. We took her to the vet, and they told us that they have been trying to get that medicine off the shelves because of how it affects animals. I was in a theater watching Despicable Me when my cat finally passed away. It sucked knowing that my cat is dead because of some money-hungry brand who doesn't care about the safety of the animals it gives its products to. Dell laptops. One of the only times I actually sprang for the full deal warranty. About 3 months into owning it, I lifted the lid, only to have the plastic bezel around the monitor separate entirely from the lid, all the stupid little plastic clips broken. Figured okay, no problem. Full warranty, easy fix. After contacting support, I was told, plain and simple, that my warranty does not cover any plastic part. It was a bloody Dell, the entire laptop was plastic.